Good morning and happy Monday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroy Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV, also on X. Welcome to Ungoverned after a beautiful week of wins. What a beautiful week of wins, right? Nobody wins as much as we win. Donald Trump can't stop winning. Big, beautiful bill is set to pass the Senate. We told you how many months ago? 4 months ago? 3.5 months ago? That this big, beautiful bill was not going to be perfect. I see a lot of people who are unhappy with some of the pork. We'll go through, of course, why that continues to happen. It has everything to do with the fact that we have a slim, well, not everything to do, but most of it has to do with the fact that we have a very slim House majority, which means everybody's vote means more, which means if everybody's going to take, then everybody must give, and you wind up with bloated bills and I'm not going to say that the one big, beautiful bill isn't bloated. I'm not going to be, delusional in that regard. Now, it's not the worst thing that's come through the House, but what is the most important thing about the one big, beautiful bill and the reason why it must pass? What is the most important thing? We'll let the live chat continue to say good morning to everybody and, of course, answer that question. The most important part about the big, beautiful bill is, and the reason why it must pass is, and we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, a tragic situation unfolded in Idaho yesterday. Thankfully, that was brought to a quick resolution. So, and as we know right now, LJ Sin PA is right about the big, beautiful bill. Taxes, tax cuts. Absolutely. Number two is what Sherry 2032 says is border security. But the tax cuts are the most important thing. Extending those tax cuts had to be done by any means possible. And that's part of why it's a net positive no matter what the big, beautiful bill is loaded with. It is a net positive because you're getting tax cuts for the middle class, saving families about $1,700 annually on average on their taxes. So that is, we could not, after all the inflation and how high prices rose and where prices are sitting right now, we could not then again increase people's taxes by over 60%. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. And so that is why the one big, beautiful bill passing or being set to pass in the Senate is very important. I'm not saying I like 940-page bills. I'm not saying I approve of everything and all the pork that are in these bills or in this particular bill. I don't. But if you had managed your expectations going into this and listened to kind of to what we've been saying on the show for a very long time, we knew that there was going to be a ton of pork. We knew that there was going to be a little bit of bloat from that regard. And unfortunately, it is what it is. If we want better bills, we need two things. We need a larger majority and better representation. And that falls on us. That falls on us to deliver, okay? That falls on us to deliver. So we have that. Also, Canada has folded. What did Canada do last week? They decided they were going to impose a digital sales tax or digital services tax on American companies. Trump got wind of that. He said, hell no. To the no. Right? Donald Trump said, hell no. And he said, we're going to do tariffs all over you, right? We're going to put tariffs all over you like nobody's ever seen before. And Canada came back and said, we won't do it anymore. So they pulled that back. Queen Carney up there, the feminine prime minister of Canada, repealed that. Another win for Trump. Obviously, last week, Middle East ceasefire, despite the fact that the woke right was trying to undermine those efforts, right? They were saying, no, the Hodge twins, you ready for this? The Haji twins are continuing. They're like, no, we're still at war. What? Reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, right? No, we're at war, they keep saying, because they can't be wrong. Bunch of clowns. They've done so much damage to themselves that I almost feel bad for them if they weren't just Idiots.
No, there's two of them. They
You
can't
know?
put their brain cells together.
Well, it's not
enough to
even. They're sitting there going, "We're still in World War III."
Right.
I mean, really? I can go outside. It's not World War III, right? So yeah, there's two of them. They can't rub their two brain cells together to make a little bit of
one
fire.
One brain cell each.
Yeah,
So,
half a brain cell per twin. Yeah. You had Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene on an interview, essentially, coming out and praising Zohran Mamdani. I get what they were saying. They're saying he ran a good campaign. He spoke to the issues, but they made it, of course, about the Jews. Oh, my goodness, the Jews. Zohran Mamdani was the only one who didn't mention Israel. That's why he won. No, it's because he promised free stuff, you idiots. So Tucker and Marjorie Taylor Greene are out there doing what they do, right? Canoodling and going down that woke right path. And for anybody who's upset with me for using the term woke right, shut up, please. Okay. Here's the thing, and the reason why it's a real term, okay? You go, woke can't exist on the right. No, it can. Woke leftists believe that white people are the reason everybody has problems, right? The woke right believes who? Believes who is the reason why everybody has problems? The Jews, right? It's a Chewbacca, okay? The woke left says, if you disagree with me, you're paid by Russia. The woke right says, if you disagree with me, you're paid by Israel, the Jews, right? It's the same. Candace Owens created a doxing website in 2016. Doxing is woke. Doxing is left-wing behavior. If you are behaving like a woke leftist and you happen to vote the same way I vote, you're on the woke right. If you don't like it, and some people, no, I don't like that term. Well, you know what? That's on you. I know it hurts to find out that wokeism isn't just exclusive to the left, but this is why we use the term, because they're literally they're two sides of the same insane coin. So we've got a bunch. We also have this the Supreme Court win with nationwide injunctions. We're going to get to all that. Before we do that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. It's OFPFarms.com. OFPFarms.com. Oscar Foxtrot, PapaFarms.com. Bring out the holiday cheer. Holiday cheer. It's July. How is their holiday cheer? Bring out the holiday cheer. OFP Farms has just decked the Star-Spangled Halls with their Christmas in July sale. Use your code Sean to save 35% while roasting chestnuts on a beach bonfire as the sun sizzles. Revel in the joy of the not-quite season. With naturally fabulous goat milk and tallow products, this is the perfect chance to stock up on old favorites or try something new, all while enjoying a discount as glorious as a bald eagle soaring over amber waves of grain. Just imagine that. Just picture that in your head, a bald eagle. Caw-caw, caw-caw, soaring over amber waves of grain to scream America, right? And 35% off. While others are busy with fireworks and freedom fries, true patriots will be adding a touch of holiday cheer to their summer because nothing screams America the Beautiful like a July breeze and a goat milk soap, like the Outlaw soap, which will leave you smelling like a law-breaking felon, right? Use the code Sean for 35% off. It's my first name. It's right on your screen. Don't spell it wrong. There's nothing that drives me crazier than when people who are commenting or trying to yell at me on X spell my name wrong. And I'm like, okay, that's not it. I'm like, okay, and maybe they're doing it on purpose because they're trolling. But here you go. Christmas in July, 35% off. OFPFarms.com. It's Oscar Foxtrot, PapaFarms.com. OFPFarms.com. Promo code Sean, SHAWN. It's OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean. For Christmas in July over at OFP Farms, go to OFPFarms.com. Stock up on your favorites while supplies last. Again, that's OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com. All right, hello to everybody over over on X. Marty Moe wants to know, where are you from, Tennessee or Florida? I am from, as Cody says, Cody Lonazak over there on X, from New York, but lives in Tennessee. That is correct. My wife is from Florida, but she also lives in Tennessee. So right now, we are located in the beautiful, great state of Tennessee. I am also very excited because do you guys know what's happening tomorrow? Do you know what tomorrow is?
Tuesday.
Yeah, what's happening tomorrow?
Taco Tuesday.
It's the grand opening of...
Alligator Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz, baby! Oh, I can't wait. I can't. Oh. You know, I'm just going to, the reason why I'm the most excited about it, about the reason why I'm the most excited about Alligator Alcatraz is because the left is going to freak out. Because they're going to start, you know, remember in the first term, Donald Trump is putting kids in cages. But they took pictures of kids that were in cages during the Obama administration, Time magazine. Remember AOC? She was crying at the fence, right? And everyone was like, oh, look at how brave she is. And that started the AOC challenge where everybody, all the folks like us on X were pretending to cry in front of any fence they could find, right? Yeah. Okay. The best part about Alligator Alcatraz, and I'm seriously considering doing this. Okay. Because I don't have a passport. I'm considering going to Mexico and then entering the United States illegally just so I could be the first person at Alligator Alcatraz. Oh, okay. So, you know, the best part about, and I'll put a sombrero. I'm here illegally, man. I want to go to Alligator Alcatraz, man. The best part about it is the left is going to eventually, I don't know if they've done it yet. I'm waiting, but it's probably going to happen tomorrow. They're definitely going to accuse Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, James Uthmeyer, the state of Florida, ICE, etc., of feeding illegals to alligators, and I can't wait for it. I just can't wait. You're going to feed them to these bloodthirsty reptiles? No, unless they try to escape. But then they'd be feeding themselves to those bloodthirsty reptiles. And I have a proposition, if you will, at the end of the show when we talk about Alligator Alcatraz, and I'm curious to see everybody's thoughts on this. But I have a proposal, a game, if you will, right? Maybe a competition, a test, a challenge to see if maybe you guys and gals in the chat will approve, or maybe you won't approve because it sounds like amnesty. All right, before we get to any more of that, I want to talk to you about one of our new sponsors. That is MyPatriotSupply.com. There is a massive, and I mean huge. It's huge. It's incredible. Nobody's ever seen a better sale. It is a 4th of July sale going on right now. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. Look, the headlines are getting crazier and crazier by the minute. We've got an unstable situation in the Middle East, reports of sleeper cells in the United States, and the looming threat of nuclear proliferation everywhere we don't want it. Nobody knows what is coming next. But one thing is clear. When a crisis hits, it is too late to prepare. You want to be prepared before the crisis instead of being caught with your pants down after the crisis or during the crisis, right? That is why I want to talk to you about MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned and the Independence Day Preparedness Bundle from My Patriot Supply. It includes a massive 1-year emergency food supply. That is food for an entire year. If the sugar honey iced tea hits the fan, you will be prepared for an entire year, okay? Now, it's got a 25-year shelf life. So, if it hits the fan next year, you're okay. If the sugar honey iced tea hits the fan in 20 years, you're still okay because it has a 25-year shelf life, okay? Now, they're also throwing in over $1,200 of free survival gear with the Independence Day bundle. We're talking a full year of food, solar backup power, water filtration, everything you need to ride out whatever may be coming with lightning fast, free shipping. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. That is MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. It's more than a great deal. It may be your last best chance to get your house in order and be prepared for what may or may not be coming. But the special offer is not going to last long. Only a few more days left. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned and take care of this now. It's MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. All right. Shall we? Shall we sip?
Gulp.
There it is. Donald Trump had an unbelievable week last week. Has he had a better week than the week that he had last week in terms of the wins? I can't remember a better week during the second term of Donald Trump's presidency, right? His first term, then we had the gap year, then we have his second term. I can't think of a better week than last week. The wins are piling up for Donald J. Trump. The wins are piling up for the United States of America. It was amazing to watch the panicking on every, and some people get offended. Oh, asking questions is panicking? No, panicking is panicking. Asking questions is not a problem. I don't have an issue when you ask a question. right? I don't have a problem with people who are saying, hey, is this the right move? Hey, is there too much pork in this bill? Hey, are we, should we be bombing Iran? I don't have a problem with people who ask questions. You're not the enemy. The problem, the enemy, are the people who panic. Oh my gosh, World War III, let me clutch some pearls, right? Oh, tariffs, Charles Gasper, tariffs, it's going to cause massive inflation, Jerome Powell. Where's the inflation? Yeah, I just bought a dozen eggs yesterday for $2.99. $2! Remember Vic DiBitetto?
Oh my God.
Remember Vic DiBitetto? Tony Gaga? I got a guy. He gets you the eggs for $2, right? Think of it, right? Where's the inflation? I'm not saying things are cheap. I'm not saying things are affordable. Hey, beef could come down a little bit, maybe, right? Pork is highly affordable, by the way. Unless you're Zoran Mamdani, he's not allowed to eat that. But hey, that's all right.
Ooh, he's so scary.
You need to wrap him in bacon, right? Oops. Yeah. Okay. Where's this massive inflation? Well, I thought the economy was going to tank because of tariffs. What happened? No, it's not the people who ask questions. See, there's a disingenuous argument coming from the woke right. Oh, anybody who asks questions, you think is a panicking. No, anybody who panics, I think, is a panicking. When COVID first came around, okay, I didn't panic. I saw a bunch of people panicking. In other words, buying 96 rolls of toilet paper for 15 days to slow the spread. If you need COVID or no COVID, if you need 96 rolls of toilet paper over 15 days, you got a much bigger problem than the China virus, right? Can we agree? Mm-hmm. You are sugar honey iced teaing your brains out. You have a much bigger problem than COVID-19. All right. And I was saying that at the time. What are you going to do with all that toilet paper? And then all of a sudden, they were playing games and putting video on TikTok. I said, is that why you bought the toilet paper to go viral? You stupid SOBs. Now there's no toilet paper for people who need it, right? Had we just shopped and used the available inventory in these stores as we had the whole time, there would have been no supply chain problems. The people who panic are the problem over and over and over again. Oh my gosh, new virus, we're all going to die. No, we're not. No, we're not. Just calm down. Oh my goodness, Donald Trump is striking Iran. We're all going to die for Israel and we're going to World War III. No, we're not. We're not going to die. We've done this before. Donald Trump has used strategic airstrikes and precision airstrikes against many of our enemies, right? We've done it in Syria. We've done it in Afghanistan. We did it to Soleimani. Did we ever get into World War III on any of those occasions? No. So why would you think he's going to do it again? Why would you think this time is different? Why? I know why. Because Israel was involved this time. That's why. These people, no, it's always the Jews. Chewbacca, right? Chewbacca is always out there, ready to go. It's the Jews, right? These people, they can't stop. Where is it? There he is. There he is. It's the Jews. Every time. Every time. I even had somebody yesterday, I posted something and I said, J.D. Vance was, without question, the best choice Donald Trump could have made for vice president. And someone goes, no, because he's bought by Israel. Is every freaking person bought by Israel because they didn't say God bless you after they sneeze? I mean, come on now. I said, never mind. The woke writer said J.D. Vance is a bad vice president now. Let me guess. It should be Thomas Massie. A guy who, you know what? I'm not going to say he has a drinking problem because he clearly has no problem drinking. Donald Trump put up an epic week last week. Let's go through some of the wins. The one big, beautiful bill passed cloture vote. What's the matter?
It's frozen and looping for people, so I don't know if it's anything on your end or
not. I don't think it's anything. Let me see if we're getting the same. Let me see if we're getting the same complaints over on X. If not, then this is a Rumble issue. No, nobody is. Is anybody on X experiencing freezing or looping? Anybody on X experiencing it? Nobody on. I don't see anybody on X experiencing that. So this may be a Rumble problem. Apologize if that's happening, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we're gonna continue. If you need a better feed, of course you can go over to X on my personal feed or the LFA TV US feed. If it's glitching, I get it. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. So the Senate advanced the one big beautiful bill, and that is one of the big wins. The negotiated ceasefire between Israel and Iran was another one of those big wins. The two foes agreed to stop firing at each other at Trump's behest. Other than that, we had a beautiful Supreme Court ruling. We had what? We had the NATO chief calling Trump daddy. The Supreme Court ruling on nationwide injunctions. But here is the. We'll start with the one big beautiful bill, because the one big beautiful bill passed. Okay, or it didn't officially pass yet, but they agreed to end debate, so they've got 15 or so hours or whatever it might be, and then they will take a vote on whether or not the bill will go back to the House to be finalized and then sent to Donald Trump's desk. But here is why the one big beautiful bill has to pass, besides the pork. I get it. We told you this. I don't know how long ago it was. I can't go through every single show to find it. But the one big beautiful bill has to pass despite the pork. Why? Why? Because of those beautiful two words that we said at the beginning. Tax cuts. Tax cuts. By the way, X is confirming over here that that there is no freezing and there is no looping problem. Yeah, there's no freezing. There's no looping. There's no issue happening over on X right now. So thank you to our users over on X for the feedback, and we're sorry that you're experiencing issues over at home base on Rumble. The Senate voted late, 51 to 49, late Saturday night after J.D. Vance arrived on the floor and did some extra vote whipping. He essentially did Majority Leader John Thune's job for him, which. What does it say about John Thune, right? But the Senate voted 51 to 49 late Saturday night to advance Trump's one big beautiful bill to the next phase of consideration after several hours of negotiation and last-minute arm twisting by Senate Majority Leader Thune and Vice President J.D. Vance. We are now looking at what could be a protracted process of Democratic delays, Republican quote-unquote infighting. I don't like that term. And political theater that stretches well into this coming week. Listen, the bill is far from perfect. Parts of it are pretty bad if you're talking about government spending. But the number one reason why it has to pass, and this happens all the time, right? We've seen this with continuing resolutions, right? We've seen this with continuing resolutions where it has to pass or else the government gets shut down, or it has to pass because veterans are going to lose their benefits, or it has to pass. The main reason, the primary reason why this bill has to pass, right, is because we need to make the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, Donald Trump's tax cuts, they have to be made permanent. And as who wrote this article here? This is Joe Cunningham. As Joe Cunningham over on Red State says, sometimes governing means choosing between imperfect options and catastrophic consequences. This is one of those times. I hate to tell you, when you're voting in general elections, right, that if a RINO is running like a Lindsey Graham or a Thom Tillis, we'll talk about him in a second, or, a Don Bacon also retiring from the Senate, or an Andrew Garbarino, or a Nick LaLota, or a Mike Lawler. I hate having to tell you come general election time, listen, you got to hold your nose and vote for the Republican because the Democrat's going to be a worse option. The fact of the matter is that statement is true. If the RINOs in the House were as bad as Democrats, Donald Trump would have been impeached already, right? Can we agree that the RINOs, they're not as bad as Democrats? I'm not trying to hold water for them or carry water for them or cover for them. I'm just telling you that's one metric that you can look at and say, look, they're really bad and they let us down and they're massive disappointments, but they're still not Democrats. You see, Democrats wield political power without restraint. Republicans like to at least restrain themselves. Even RINOs like to restrain themselves from using political power. As a matter of fact, RINOs tend to restrain themselves a little more, saying, oh, no, this is too much. Donald Trump's not a king. I'm not voting for that. Donald Trump has not been impeached yet. The RINO caucus of the House of Representatives, they're not as bad. They're almost as bad, and I want to get rid of them, but they're not as bad as Democrats. I hate telling you that sometimes our system is the lesser of two evils, but the reality is that's what it is. If you want to upgrade your candidates, what must we do? We must be prepared and we must be engaged and we must be participating all year long. That does mean now, right? 4th of July season, beach season, vacation season, summer season, warm weather season. Yeah, I know it's holiday season. I get it. It's the summer. We want to enjoy our time. You can still do that, but you've got to maintain a level of engagement, because I'll tell you what, whether it's because the left pays people to do it or not, they still do it. They find a way to stay engaged and stay involved. They find a way to participate every 2 years, whereas Republicans tend to find a way to participate every 4 years. Presidential election. We're the party saying we don't live in a democracy, we live in a republic, and yet we act like we vote for kings. We won the presidential election, everything's going to be okay. No, everything's not going to be okay. We have to win back our country year after year after year. Local, state, federal, always participating, right? That's what we've got to do. If we're not willing to do that, then none of us want to make America great again. Sorry for the tough love, but it's the truth. The point that I'm trying to make here is that you either strike this whole thing down because there's too much pork and it's bloated, and everybody across the country loses their tax cuts and winds up paying a bleep load more in taxes next year because the tax cuts expired, or we pass it, we get those tax cuts, and we address everything else down the road. I'm not saying it's perfect. I told you 3.5, 4 months ago that when they were talking about one big, beautiful bill, what did I say? Don't come back here when it's passing and start complaining because there's things in it that you don't like. It was never going to be perfect. When you're dealing with a razor-thin majority, right? People like Don Bacon, people like Thomas Massey, some of these representatives in the House, the SALT caucus, their votes mean more because you need almost every vote to get this passed. If you had a 30-seat majority, you could afford to lose 15 votes, right? So those people that are causing a problem don't necessarily matter. You can bargain with and talk to and compromise with and negotiate with and build the bill with more conservative members of the House because the majority is larger. The margin for error is larger. When you have a 3-seat majority or whatever the hell it is right now in the House and a very small amount of wiggle room, everybody's vote means more, which means everybody gets to ask for more, which means everybody has to give more, which is how you wind up with these bloated bills. I'm not telling you I like it. I'm giving you the reality of the situation and explaining to you the nuances of what is going on in Capitol Hill. Why don't we get better bills? Because everybody is taking advantage of their vote weighing more with a thin majority and getting more added to the bill, whether it's for themselves or on, some occasions for their constituents. If the one big beautiful bill fails and the 2017 tax cuts are allowed to expire, in other words, not passing the bill and just doing nothing, right? The average American family faces a $1,700 tax hike. That is the equivalent right now of 9 weeks of groceries. 9 weeks. Okay, of groceries. Out the window, fed back to Uncle Sam for them to create more bloatware and spend that money on bullcrap. For small businesses, which is the backbone of our country and of our economy, you're talking about 26 million small businesses facing a 43.5% top tax rate if the pass-through deduction expires. We can't have that. That's economic disaster. The bill will permanently extend the 2017 Trump tax cuts and adds critical provisions like no taxes on tips, no tax on overtime, and car loan interest for American-made vehicles. It expands the small business deduction to 23%, and it makes permanent, potentially creating over 1 million new Main Street jobs annually. Look, there's big problems. The CBO, which I don't trust, but it says it's going to add $2.4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade, even with the spending cuts included. However, what the CBO doesn't include in their estimates is the revenue generated from tariffs, the revenue generated from the Donald Trump gold card, right, where there's, $5 million to come into the country and get citizenship. If you're a foreign national, you pay $5 million, you invest in the United States, basically buy your citizenship. They're not factoring in the fact that tax cuts create government revenue You know, when you author tax cuts, it's classified as spending because in the eyes of these corruptocrats, they look at you. Okay, you're cutting taxes. In other words, you're lessening the amount of income tax that you're picking up from businesses, that you're picking up from average American workers, right? If you're lessening that, the government looks at that like, okay, we're going to be bringing in less revenue. False. Because what it does is it allows Americans to have more what? Disposable income. You know what Americans do with disposable income? They dispose of it. They use it at a restaurant. Maybe they'll go out to eat more. Okay? They'll do a little bit more shopping. They have a little more money. They could buy some luxury items. They could take more trips, patronize more American businesses. And what that does, it stimulates the economy. And so what Art Laffer had proven back in the Reagan era is that when you decrease the tax rate, you actually see an increase in government revenue. The CBO doesn't think like that. So the CBO looks at this and says, oh my gosh, 2.4 trillion. And then you have people like Thomas Massey, who never would believe anything the CBO says, coming out there and touting them as if they're what they say is the gospel, right? It's infallible. The one big beautiful bill was never going to be perfect. Why are we not freaking out about it? Because we told you that. We told you that. We told you the one big beautiful bill wasn't going to be perfect. And it wasn't. And it isn't. But it has to be done because if not, you're going to destroy this economy. Small businesses are going to get absolutely wrecked. Average American workers are going to get absolutely wrecked. $2,000 tax hike over, annually, the equivalent of 9 weeks of groceries. Come on. We can't have that. It's got to pass. Everybody freaking out over it. You want to pay more taxes? You want to pay more? You start. All right. I want to take a quick break here. Sorry about the issues that are happening over on Rumble, but we are rolling over on X. Rumble is experiencing some problems right now. So here we go. Let me see. We have any update. Rumble is absolutely down. Rumble is down. Yeah. I'm just answering some questions. Rumble is absolutely down, but everybody over on X is watching without a problem. So it seems to be a Rumble issue. Don't know why or how, but it seems to be a major problem. I'm just going to double check over and make sure that nothing changed over here on my end with my software. I probably should have checked this before, but I'm going to check this right now, and then we'll get to a word from our friends. Yeah, everything's reading all clear on my end. But unfortunately, it looks like Rumble went down. So this is why sometimes we stream to these other platforms in case something is up over on Rumble. There we go. Okay. Let's make it. Let's get to a word from our friends over at Silent. It's slnt.com/Sean. Silent. slnt.com/Sean. slnt.com/SHAWN. Ladies and gentlemen, between the government, big tech, corporate America, and criminals, your privacy is compromised 24/7. No good. There's no other option. You have to protect yourself. That starts with Silent, SLNT. Silent's Faraday products block all incoming and outgoing signals so that your devices are invisible and safe from the outside world. From their backpacks, phone sleeves, and even pants, their patented signal blocking technology blocks wireless signals, giving you peace of mind that your data does not end up in the wrong hands. This is what it looks like right here, folks. slnt.com/Sean for 15% off. slnt.com/SHAWN for 15% off. Folks, take your device, put it inside one of these Silent products, like their pants, like their backpacks, like their phone sleeves, close it, and that's all you got to do. You're safeguarded from unauthorized access. Go Silent today at SLNT, Sierra, Lima, November Tango.com/Sean, SHAWN, to save 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. That's Silent, SLNT.com/Sean for 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. Silent.com/SHAWN. Silent.com, SLNT.com/SHAWN. All right, we're going to get into a couple more Donald Trump's wins, including Thom Tillis, including the Supreme Court. Before we do that, I want to show you this Zohran Mamdani. Very interesting, right? Very interesting what he says about what New York City is going to look like if and when, because it's probably going to happen, he becomes the mayor. Watch this.
Of the neighborhood.
All right. You are a self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately, what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Well,
so no more billionaires, folks. The billionaires are going to be, the billionaires are gone. The billionaires they're not going to exist in New York City if and when Zohran Mamdani becomes the mayor. Okay, so what about George Soros then? What about George Soros? Is George Soros a billionaire that's not going to exist under a Mamdani administration? How about this one from Zohran yesterday, which Mazemore found and put on X? Listen to the language here.
What the purpose is about this entire project, it's not simply to raise class consciousness, but to win socialism. And obviously raising class consciousness is a critical part of that. But making sure that we have candidates that both understand that and are willing to put that forward at every which moment that they have, at every which opportunity that they're given. We have to continue to elect more socialists. And we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right, or whether it's the end goal of ceasing the means of production, where we do not have the same level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are doing both of these things in tandem. Because it is critical for us to both meet people where they're at and to also organize for what is correct and for what is right, and to ensure that over time we can bring people to that issue. The ramifications of victory here is the difference between life and death.
It's a life and death. That's it sounds like Bernie Sanders, right? If you don't elect me, people are going to die. Zohran Mamdani, of course. What did he say the end goal was? Seizing the means of production? Seizing the means of production. Which means he's going to do it by force. That sounds like a communist to me. That sounds like a socialist to me. It's quite interesting. Right? It's a little weird. A little scary. He's going to be the next mayor of New York City. Oh, but what about? We went through the numbers with all the whatabouts. Even if he loses 30% of his vote share. Again, even if he loses 30% of his vote share to people like Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams, he still wins. And Sliwa is not going to drop out. If you think there's any chance of Curtis Sliwa dropping out of a race, you don't know Curtis Sliwa. He's not dropping out. It's not happening. It's not happening. All right. Another Trump win yesterday. Thom Tillis announced he will not be seeking re-election after Donald Trump threatened to primary him or fund a primary challenge or vet a primary challenge or find a primary challenge. Okay? Thom Tillis, as you know, with the last straw for me, if we're watching here over on X, because I got to pay attention to our X chat here, because Rumble went down. Something happened on. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I know everybody who's asking over on Rumble can't hear me, but I've got no clue. Right?
I'm keeping them updated.
So Brennan's keeping them updated. We have no idea why.
And so are Jeremy Neal.
Yeah, Jeremy Neal are in there. So we don't know why it happened or what happened. We'll try and get to the bottom of it right now. X is the place to go for the live stream. The biggest straw for me, as you know, with Thom Tillis was when he decided to sink the confirmation of Ed Martin, right? when he stood there and said, and it sounded like he was warming up for the opera, right? Me, 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 me. It was all about me. I can't fathom putting somebody in this position who has that thoughts about January 6th. I would confirm him to any U.S. attorney's position, but D.C. I can't in good this, that. Everything was about Thom Tillis and not about the people he represents. He shouldn't have been there in the first place, okay? He's absolute garbage. Trash. Garbage. He's disgusting. He's a stupid person. I have to say that he's a stupid person. So now you're going to look at a wide open 2026 GOP primary. To Mark Robinson, please stay away. Right? He's damaged goods. Please stay away. Please stay away. All right? But there's a bunch of names that are either right now running or thinking about running. One of them is Laura Trump. If Laura Trump decides to get into that race, I don't think there's even going to be a primary. I think everybody will understand what that means if she gets into that. So Thom Tillis is out. That is another big win for Donald Trump. Another big win. Another one was this ruling from the Supreme Court on nationwide injunctions, which I got to tell you, this one fired me up. This one got me so excited. Donald Trump touts the Supreme Court win on nationwide injunctions. A giant win in the United States Supreme Court, President Trump declared after the Supreme Court voted 6-3 to shrink lower judges' ability to freeze his policies with nationwide injunction. Quote, even the birthright citizenship hoax has been indirectly hit hard. It had to do with the babies of slaves, not the scamming of our immigration process with anchor babies. Congratulations to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Solicitor General John Sauer, and the entire DOJ. They had a news conference about it as well. Now, as much as I had said Pam Bondi has been ineffective in some ways or MIA in some ways, you have to give her credit where it's due. This is something that she was able to orchestrate with her Solicitor General and the work that she put into this. The Supreme Court basically telling the lower courts, you can't do the nationwide injunction thing anymore. So I say to the No Kings protesters, congratulations. Now we have district court judges who, like Blowsberg, who cannot act like a king anymore. Congratulations. The decision instructs the lower courts to formulate a narrower legal formula governing nationwide injunctions. The court's rule emerged from the legal fight over Trump's opposition to the automatic award of citizenship to children born in the United States if they're born from illegal aliens. The court has yet to rule on the legality of Trump's policy on birthright citizenship. The decision comes after many lower court activist judges have imposed nationwide injunctions to stop Trump reforms, even when only a few elite-funded activist plaintiffs in one state have filed against the policy. What's up?
Jeremy says check your email.
Check my email. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Emergency all day. So we want to, do we want to maybe, is this going to be, I guess what we're asking me to do is just replace these keys. I'll try that right now. I'll replace these keys right now. Let's see.
Yeah, Eli says we're hoping to reactivate the stream.
Okay. So I'm going to be replacing, I just replaced those keys for those of you guys and gals listening. And I am switching them on. So you should be getting, let's see, it hasn't pushed out yet. This is live fixes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. LFA all day stream now says it is streaming to those new sets of keys, Jeremy and Eli. Let me know if of course that
Jeremy says that Rumble has informed him that they know there's an issue.
Okay. So this was a Rumble problem. Yeah. They are working on it. Jeremy, Eli, Frankie, and everybody listening, wherever you guys are hearing me, ground control to Major Tom, right? I have put those new keys in, and so hopefully...
All right, the stream is back up. Let me see if I have...
Hopefully we have a new stream there, so there you go. All right, where were we here? Where were we? Nationwide injunctions, of course. Nationwide injunctions. The Supreme Court has told the... There you go. The Supreme Court has told the... We're good. Okay. The Supreme Court has told the lower courts that they can't issue nationwide injunctions anymore because, or what they must do is they must only apply it to the parties that are involved in the lawsuit. Okay? It says the government's applications for partial stays of the preliminary injunctions are granted, but only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary to provide complete relief to each plaintiff withstanding to sue. The court said universal injunctions likely exceed the equitable authority that Congress has given to federal courts. The court grants the government's applications for a partial stay of the injunctions entered below, but only to the extent that the injunctions are broader than necessary. The issue raised by these applications, whether Congress has granted federal courts authority to universally enjoin the enforcement of an executive order, plainly warrants this court's review. On multiple occasions and, of course, across administrations, the Solicitor General has asked the court to consider the propriety of this expansive remedy. As the number of universal injunctions has increased over the years, so too has the importance of this issue. The government is likely to succeed on the merits of its claim that the district courts lacked authority to issue universal injunctions. And so those courts and those universal injunctions coming from district courts and hack judges are, they're done. That's out. We're gone. Okay? And a very big win for Donald Trump, capping off his week of wins. Also, apparently a war in the Congo, which has been going on for 30 years, also ended. So there you have. Okay. Idaho yesterday, very bad situation happened in Idaho. While I was prepping the show yesterday, we were going to lead with it, and then the person suspected of being the shooter was found dead up on this mountainside. Just a very sick situation. The going theory right now is the going theory right now is that this individual, and for a minute it looked like there was more than one shooter, and there could have been, but right now they're thinking it's only one. They lifted the shelter-in-place order. That this individual intentionally lit those fires to draw in law enforcement and first responders to then fire upon them. You have to be a sick, soulless, disturbed, and twisted individual to do something like that. I don't want to hear about it. It's the guns. And please, and I haven't seen it yet that much. Please, let's not play, he's a leftist, he's a MAGA guy, he's a socialist, he's a libertarian. Do you understand the gravity of what happened yesterday? And I'm going to say, I haven't seen that much of it. I'm just trying to get out in front of that because it's not going to happen here. Somebody, I don't care what side of the aisle this guy's on. It doesn't matter. Somebody lost their mind. Okay? I don't know who it was. We don't know who it was. Maybe we do. I haven't seen anything yet. They haven't released the identity of this person. Decided that what they wanted to do yesterday in Idaho was light a fire, a wildfire, arson, and draw in firefighters and first responders to then shoot at them and try to kill them, while also burning down a portion of the forest in Idaho, threatening homes around that area. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care, what nationality you are. I don't care if you're white, if you're black, if you're... The point of the matter is, can we address something in this country? The only way this really isn't valid is if this is an illegal alien, because that goes back to, something what happened 4 years ago. Okay, but let's assume, just for now, for the sake of the argument, I'm not saying this is the case. Let's assume, for the sake of the argument, this person is an American citizen, right? A legal resident of the United States. We have to address the mental health problem in this country. It has to happen. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not a doctor. All I know is that we need help. This country needs help. I saw this kid, Dean Withers or whatever his name is, he's one of Harry Sisson's boy toys, right? Lost his mind on a live stream because somebody called his anxiety pen a vape. And he absolutely lost his mind. After the war in the Middle East, I was like, you know what? I started getting tired, really tired, because going back and forth to people on social media, and it's a great tool, don't get me wrong, and it's how we reach so many people, and it's great. And it's a great tool in that regard, right? But it's like it just wipes me out. And it's really the dumb people that really wipe me out the most. The dumb, this is Israel, this one, you're Jewish, you're this, you're that. It's just, but those people are sick too. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But for the sake of the argument, we have a mental health crisis in this country. Mental health crisis. And it has to be addressed. It's not the guns. It's not the politics. It's a societal issue. This is the pandemic. And a lot of people snapped over COVID. Getting locked in their homes and, all this. You have to be a sick and disgusting, twisted, soulless, godless individual to do what this person did in Idaho yesterday. Disgusting. I just horrifying. Who would ever think to do something like this? I wouldn't even do it in a video game where, Grand Theft Auto, you have this thing, it's like you commit crimes, whatever. People have problems with the morality of the game. It's a game. As long as you treat it like a game, you don't bring those things into real life, you're okay. I don't really care, right? But just think of how sadistic you have to be to do something like this. It's just, and you hear the 911 call, the firefighters taking fire, and they're just terrified. Oh, man. Well, anyway, I'm glad the guy's dead. Hopefully he was the only one. And the people in Idaho can try and move on. That's got to rock that community. That's got to rock that community. All right, let's take a quick pause again. Thank you to everybody for bearing with us through all of the issues. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. It's tough sometimes when things start going crazy. Thankfully, and I say this just because for the sake of the show, thankfully it didn't go down everywhere, and this was only isolated to Rumble. Unfortunately, Rumble is our home base, and it impacts the majority of our audience. But thank you to those of you who moved over to X and who bared with us, got into a new stream, etc. We've heard now that Rumble is aware of the problem and are trying to fix it. But so thank you for your patience. We really appreciate that. Let's move over. I'm going to talk to you about one of our sponsors over here. It's Armor Colostrum, tryarmor.com/LFA TV. I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. This is Armor Colostrum. It can do all that and more for you. Colostrum is the first nutrition that we receive in life and contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. It can help reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow. You could stimulate stem cells and collagen production, increasing elasticity for plumper skin, guarding against UV damage, chemicals, and pollutants from the environment, and clearing blemishes for a glowy complexion. It'll help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, and it can help fuel your fitness performance and your recovery. Check it out at tryarmra.com/LFATV. That's tryarmra.com/LFATV. Tryarmor.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order. Tryarmor.com/LFATV. That's tryarmor.com/LFATV. Next up, the LFA TV store, and then we'll have a little bit of fun with Alligator Alcatraz. LFATV.us, the LFA TV store. There it is. I thought I did something oopsie over here. I didn't. LFATV.us, LFATV.us. Click on that store tab. You see it right there on your screen. Scroll down just a little bit. Today is the last day of the spring cleaning sale at the LFA TV website. 20% off. So get in while the getting's good and while the goods are discounted. 20% off for the spring cleaning sale. Ends today, June 30th. You've got all sorts of good stuff at the LFA TV store. You got that As I Was Saying shirt. I love it. The mug is my favorite item on the store page by far. Keychains and tote bags and all sorts of great stuff. LFATV.us. It's LFATV.us. You got mugs, you got shirts, you got everything that there is to offer. LFATV.us. LFATV.us. Okay, tomorrow. Alligator Alcatraz is opening tomorrow. All right? What is Alligator Alcatraz? It is a plan that has been approved by the Department of Homeland Security that is being implemented by the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, James Uthmeyer, and the authorities down there to convert an old training facility in the Everglades and an airstrip in the Everglades into an immigrant detention center. And the reason why they're picking that is because they don't really have to secure the perimeter, because the perimeter is surrounded by the Everglades, which is, immensely populated by alligators and water moccasins and pythons and all sorts of stuff that you would only find in Jurassic Park or potentially Australia. Florida is a scary place in those swampy areas. Everything wants to eat you. So I am proposing a game. I am proposing a challenge for any illegal alien that is housed over in Alligator Alcatraz. And you tell me in the chat if you are okay with this, or Sean, this sounds too much like amnesty. I am proposing this challenge to any illegal that is going to be housed in Alligator Alcatraz. If you're an illegal alien and you are housed in Alligator Alcatraz in Florida, and you escape, and you successfully survive getting through the Everglades, reaching civilization, you get citizenship. Deal or no deal? I think that's fair, right? I think that's fair. But Sean, you're incentivizing escapes. Yes, I am. We wouldn't want the gators to go hungry, would we? PETA would then be very upset. Folks, I think it's a great idea. Are we good? Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal? I don't know. So that's kind of a funny idea. I'm only kidding, of course. I'm only kidding, right? I don't want actually people to get eaten by alligators. However, if you incentivize the escaping with citizenship, I'm just saying it might be a little fun. Well, that's not nice. You want them to be eaten. Well, then we wouldn't have to pay to house them anymore, right? I'm not saying I'm going to feed them to the gators. I'm just saying if they decide that they want to run away and the gators get them, well, there you go. Nobody has a sense of humor today. No! Because then they're going to get citizenship. You really think they're going to make it out alive? There we go. I see some people now saying, yeah, it's the Hunger Games for the gators, not for the illegals. If they successfully escape, they get citizenship. I think it's only fair. Come on, wouldn't you want a reward if you escaped from like a jail that was surrounded by gators? Serby says, may the odds be in your favor. That's right. Or constricted by pythons. Or anacondas if they're over there. Or what other crazy animals they have in the Everglades.
That's just a regular day for Floridians.
See?
I could make it.
I say it's a good idea. All in favor? You know what? I'm gonna take the crown today. We're doing it. Anybody, bang gavel. Anybody who escapes Alligator Alcatraz successfully and survives the gators gets free citizenship. Great idea. All right, Jeremy Harrell is coming up next here on Live from America. He is back, and from what I understand, came into the country legally. So he will not be the first inmate at Alligator Alcatraz. I'm taking a flight to Mexico in about 10 minutes so that I can come in illegally and see Alligator Alcatraz. I'm only kidding. Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Live from America. Thank you again to everybody who stuck with us through the technical problems this morning. Obviously, not ideal, but we fixed the problem, or we tried to create a workaround for the problem, and we appreciate everybody's. Hanging with us and sticking with us. Thank you for watching over on X. If you're watching on X, hit the repost button. Spread the word all over the place. You watching anywhere else, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure that you share. I don't know what we wound up with today, but I'm going to honk Mo just because everybody did a great job navigating those issues with us.
Just 700.
Oh, we just hit 7. See? Look at that. How nice is that? All right. Thank you to everyone who watched and listened. Appreciate it. Jeremy Harrell coming up next. Welcome back, Jeremy. In the words of our great president, we will never give up. We will never give in. We will never, ever surrender. If all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Rumble.com/LFA TV for the 1st of July. MAGA month starts tomorrow. In the words of John Fetterman, bang gavel. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for your attention to this matter.